Writing prompt: you're a forensic sketch artist. While composing an image from a witness's account, your sketch starts to look eerily familiar. You try to ignore the similarities, but eventually you can no longer deny that you recognize the face you've been drawing. I've always prided myself on my ability to see a person without actually seeing them. As a forensic sketch artist, I'd spend my days transforming vague descriptions of scared witnesses into distinct, detailed faces. The power to bring criminals to justice through strokes of my pencil made me feel like a superhuman. However, that night was different. I sat in a cold, dimly lit interrogation room across from a trembling woman named Grace. She was lucky. She had just escaped from the Skinner, a serial killer who had been plaguing the city for months. I had been doing this for years. Most of the people I worked with were going through trauma so recent that they were still in shock. It was difficult sometimes to get a description out of those victims, but many of them were put at ease by my motherly demeanor. I handed Grace a tissue and she began to describe the man as I put charcoal to paper with rhythmic precision. A high forehead, Grace whimpered. I nodded, etching the details she provided. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jawline, she continued. The face began to form, but there was an odd sense of familiarity to it. I tried to shake it off, convinced that my mind was playing tricks on me due to the late hour. As I moved on to the eyes, Grace hesitated, her face paling further. They were strangely soft, like he was carrying some immense pain, she stuttered. The words sent a chill down my spine, but I continued sketching. I added the soft eyes she described. The picture was becoming increasingly clear, but with each stroke, the familiarity became more pronounced, more personal. Finally, I asked Grace about the hair. Curly blonde, unruly, she muttered, her eyes hollow with terror. That's when my heart started to pound in my chest. I knew this face. I knew that hair. I remembered combing it decades ago when I was a young mother. I reluctantly finished the sketch, my hands trembling, my breath erratic. As I lifted the pencil off the paper, I could no longer deny it. There, on my drawing pad, was not the face of an anonymous criminal. It was my son, Sam. The shock of it all hit me like a punch to the gut. Could my Sam be the cold, brutal killer terrorizing the city? I thought about Sam's recent late-night absences, his distant behavior, and the soft sadness that often lingered in his eyes. A cold shiver of realization ran down my spine. After Grace left, I sat alone in the room, the sketch staring back at me. A part of me wanted to destroy it, deny it, hide from it. But I knew I couldn't. I had to confront the truth, no matter how shattering it could be. I picked up the phone and dialed Sam's number, the sketch still staring back at me with those soft, kind eyes. As he picked up and greeted me, I still had no idea what I was going to do or say. The grizzly bear mama wanted nothing more than to defend him. I was in denial, thinking my son is not like that. Sam was out of breath when he spoke. Hey Mom, it's late. Is everything okay? Hearing his voice, I suddenly knew in my heart that he was the killer. I feel like such a failure of a mother. Looking back, the signs were there. We took him to therapy for the animal abuse. We punished him harshly after he was caught setting fires in the backyard. I remember seeing the joy on his face after he gave the Hamptons' son a concussion. That boy's face was covered in blood, all due to a well-thrown rock. Sam was beyond help now. The only right and just thing to do is to take him off the streets before he hurt someone else. Without speaking, I hang up on Sam. I walk directly to the chief detective's office, ready to turn in my son. This is the hardest thing I have ever done, but it will save countless lives.